How to let go. There are so many ways in which you can let go. I could be on here for hours, but there's one thing that I want to help you with when it comes to the process of letting go, to shift your mind and bring you into awareness on how it can be done in a way that really, really supports who you are and who you're becoming. Oftentimes, people look at letting go as something that is hard, difficult. There's a lot of emotions that they have to face. And it can be something that is not pleasantly welcomed. And while I can't say this process, you will get to the place of pleasantly welcoming this, I do hope that this brings some ease in recognizing that if there are things that you are ready to let go of, the process doesn't have to be hard and difficult. So, one of the biggest things that I want to assist in the reframe of letting go is not on what you're letting go of, but actually who you're becoming. When we think about letting go, we think about oftentimes loss. So we're losing a person, we're losing a place. Maybe we're moving homes. Maybe we're moving to a new location. So we're moving away from a place we've always known. Maybe, we're letting go of a job. We're moving on from a job. There are so many things in life that we transition from and change and evolve through. We're not meant to stay in the same essence and awareness and beingness and be the same thing throughout our whole life, right? We're meant to grow and evolve. And so as we go through the process of changing and growing and evolving, there are things that we need to let go of. Um, it's not true that the majority of the people fall in love with someone when they're 5 years old and get married, and that's the only person that they've ever dated or known, right? Like there are relationships that we've had that we've perhaps outgrown and moved away from. There are places and there are so many things that we go throughout life. And so the process of letting go is actually an opportunity and an invite for you to ask yourself, well, what am I becoming? So, in this process, in this movement, in this transition, there is often an identity, an aspect that you have associated with that is part of who you think you are, that is what is difficult for you to look at and to let go of. This can be this can be, as I mentioned, jobs, locations, people, and things like that, but it can also be habits. It can also be ways of thinking. And so, a good example is of a habit is say you wake up late. You sleep in every day. You're waking up, and as soon as you wake up, you are rushing to get ready. You're rushing off to work. You're rushing to um, the next thing, and your whole day is just like, feels like a rush, feels like a race against time. And say you become aware of this habit and you're like, okay, I'm ready to let this go. I really want to do different. Like I want to have an experience that's different from this. I don't like this feeling. So making that choice and having that awareness, making that decision is moving you into a new way of being. So you're letting go of an old way of being or an old identity, an old habit, and you're becoming something different. So invite into this process these questions of who am I becoming? How do I get to express myself differently? Who do I get to be in this process? So maybe what you're transitioning to in that specific habit is someone who has more patience and has more presence. So say you wake up an hour earlier and you allow yourself to move slowly. You allow yourself to connect with your body. You allow yourself to be calm and be present in what you're doing. You can make yourself a cup of coffee. You can sit down and listen to the birds. Like there are so many things that you can do in this now hour of time or what have you that can really change your experience. and alter the entire rest of your day. But what that comes from is who you're being now. So you're honoring yourself in a different way. You're honoring your presence. You're honoring your ability to be calm and be at peace within yourself. And so, whether it's a habit or something is moving a physical location, this process of letting go is really an invitation into what do I get to become, right? Say you've lived in your hometown your whole life and you you got a job and now you're moving across country, right? There's this essence of an identity that you've built around who you are. Maybe everyone knows you in this hometown. Everyone has a way of looking at you and greeting you, and everyone has a specific way in which they, cheer you on and hype you up and anything like that. There could be an entire community that you feel like you're leaving behind and you need to let go of. And this is often enmeshed within an identity. And there's often people that are validating this identity for you. Um, but the opportunity really gets to be, well, who do I get to become when I move? Like, I get to experience and express myself in a completely new, different way. Maybe there are aspects of my identity that don't actually serve me anymore and who I'm becoming. Um, Maybe there are different ways that I can express myself and explore creativity or explore a new hobby or a new passion or an interest. Maybe where you grew up, it was so focused on, sports and going through, starting at a young age and working your way up, everything was focused on sports. It was a very sports heavy area that you grew up in. But you've always had an interest in photography and maybe you want to explore photography. And so, there's really a doorway that opens when you allow yourself to move through letting go in awareness. This next example is a little bit harder to talk about because this involves people. And a lot of times we build an identity of ourselves the most in connection with others because others are very self-validating. Um, so whether it be a family member or a friend or a romantic partner, um, we have this sense of identity that we've built within that connection with someone else. Maybe in that connection we explore um, you know, like anything. Maybe we explore opportunities or experiences, right? Maybe we find a romantic partner and they always want to go out and do really cool things. And you are excited and you have a whole relationship on spending your weekends traveling and going and exploring new places and doing new things. And that's, now that you are no longer in that connection or that connection doesn't serve you or you want to just change that connection. Maybe it's letting go of the way things were in order to step into a new way of being. Maybe you used to love, going out every weekend and doing all of these things, but now you want to change and do something different. Maybe this way of being doesn't serve you um as much anymore and you really want to spend some weekends in or you want to create things intentionally together. There are so many different ways that you can move through this, but letting go is really, like I said, the doorway into what do I get to become. And it always is, even though there are other people involved, it always is a reflection of self. It always is. What is the identity that I've tied to in this connection with someone else, in this physical location, in this habit that I've been doing my whole life? Like, what is that element of identity that I have become? That's the hardest thing to let go of. That's the thing that we cling on to the most is who we are in relation to, who we have become in relation to this person, this place, this thing. And so letting go of that, it's like, it's so, it's freeing to know that you can expand It's freeing to know. And especially when you surround yourself with people who are willing to change and grow as well. Like this gets to be a process that you can experience within yourself, but can also be supported by other people around you too. So letting go, it's not that there is an aspect of your identity or or a habit or something that is really difficult. Like I'm not trying to dismiss that this might not be comfortable. All, like change can be uncomfortable. Change can definitely be uncomfortable. But there's such an opportunity as well. And the more you can shift your awareness from letting go as being something that is difficult and uncomfortable and hard and painful, the easier it will be to move through those experiences and recognize that you get to become, you get to be, you get to express yourself in a different way. You get to like really, really learn and grow more in your awareness about yourself. And that is something that is so like, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. So, this process of letting go and expanding, we are constantly moving through this throughout our whole life. The more awareness you can bring to it, the easier it will be to move through life in this way. And you get to choose how you want to move through the letting go process. You get to choose how you move through life. Just as with the example with the habit of waking up early and or late and always feeling rushed to waking up early and feeling, having peace and presence in that time in the morning and have that ripple into the rest of your day, that there's a way in which you can bring intentionality into every aspect of your life. So rather than saying, I do this thing this way, you get to live life this way. You get to live your life in presence. You get to live your life in peace. You get to live your life in awareness. And you get to go through a process, if you choose, of letting go and expanding over and over and over again throughout your whole life in peace, in ease. It doesn't have to be painful and doesn't have to be hard. It's an opportunity, it's a doorway for you to say, I must have been really holding on very tightly to an aspect of myself, um, or something that I believed was part of me. I believed that, my mother was part of me and she, was with me my whole life and was my person and was there. And, maybe she's transitioned and is no longer in the physical. There's this sense of like loss and grief. And that experience in and of itself is, a whole other topic and a whole other discussion point. And that journey is so beautiful. But there is a point in letting go and allowing that natural transition to occur. We're all at some point going to leave our physical forms, like that's going to happen. Um, and you get to choose how you navigate that, whether it is something that is actually, physical, like the someone leaving Earth, or you leaving a physical location, or something more internal, you letting go of a belief or a habit or a pattern. There's so many ways in which we can move through life, but we get to choose how we do it. And so shifting from letting go, thinking about letting go as loss and pain and uncomfortableness, and really looking at it as an opportunity, a doorway into expansion and something new is the is the miracle. It's the miracle. That's our opportunity. That's our shift in perception. That's how we can choose to live life if we want. So I invite you to explore that the next time that you feel like you're going through a process of letting go and see where it takes you. You've got this.